Hi everyone, I'm Jessica James and welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel. The Erie Downtown Partnership is a nonprofit organization designed to revitalize the Erie, PA downtown area by improving its image, business climate, and the physical environment. The general public may recognize this group for organizing the Thursday night block parties and bike nights, but with Chief Executive Officer John Booknat at the helm, there is so much more going on below the surface. John, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to see you again, Jessica.
It's good to see you. It's good to see. I know we end up at so many of the same meetings, whether they're for litter cleanups, International Coastal Cleanup. We end up at a lot of the same meetings.
It's all good for our community.
It is. It really is. And like I said, there's so much going on below the surface that we don't see, past those Thursday night block parties. It's my understanding that you recently developed a new master plan for downtown Erie. Can you tell me why you feel like this was such an important accomplishment?
It's very, very important for the community. I mean, you mentioned earlier in your introduction, our organization started, we're in our 12th year. And as we progressed, we started with the events from a revitalization standpoint. You want to attract people downtown. And in the early phases of our existence, the city itself, in conjunction with the Redevelopment Authority and our group, put together an initial downtown master plan. And as time went along, a lot of things were accomplished off that plan. So here you're now a few years later, then you reassess. If we've done events, where do we need to go next? It's no different than a business saying, we've had this much success, what's our next step? Even in life, you say the same thing as a person. So our organization said it's time to update or actually create a new plan for downtown. So we took the lead role, and the city and the Redevelopment Authority were in a support role.
Super. And tell me, how long was this plan in the making then? This
particular plan is about 4 to 5 years. In 2011 is when we did the first, it really took this in 3 major steps. In 2006, that original plan was done, I alluded to earlier. Now in 2011, we took the data such as housing and retail, et cetera, and updated what they call the market analysis. So in the spring of 2012, we released the analysis and reviewed and said how much had things changed in a 5-year span or 6-year span. And then as we went into 2013, we looked for funders, and in this particular case, the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development and our Erie County Gaming Revenue Authority provided funds for us that we had some match. So in 2014, we began what we call Step 2, which in essence, we took 19 existing plans, reviewed those plans, found what was accomplished, what was still relevant, coupled with that data, and then said begin Step 3, which is the formation of this plan, which was begun in 2015 and had taken us a year. And here we are now, we just introduced it here recently. So ideally, it's been about 4 to 5 year process and getting to where we are today.
Sure, and those 19 plans that you looked at, were they all for Erie, or were they taken from maybe other cities or other communities, and then you pulled from them?
Those plans are all related to Erie. They were the Port Authority's plan, the Parking Authority's plan, our Downtown Master Plan, this Master Streetscape Plan, and on and on and on. And those are the partners and other stakeholders that make up the downtown. So each of those organizations we're also doing their own assessment in terms of what it is they're looking to do. So in studying that, we then, as mentioned, use that data as the basis saying, all right, here's what we then need to do. If there were some gaps or some consistencies, that was the premise.
So this is a nice vision for the future.
It is, it is. And the big question we've been asked so far is, how does this plan, why do we need another plan? And ultimately it's, how does this plan connect with the city's comprehensive plan and Emerge 2040's plan? And the best way we explain to people, you got to understand it, is Emerge 2040 is a large regional plan. And it's at like a 20,000 foot level. Then if you come down to the 10,000 foot level, here's the city's comprehensive plan, and it deals with the city. Ours is at the 5,000 foot level, where it deals with the downtown. But there's connection and similarities and similar goals throughout, so that there's been a lot of collaboration. There's been a lot of data sharing throughout the whole process. As we were doing our plan, the city was doing theirs, and of course, tail end of Destination Erie into Merge 2040. So it's been a really good, and we want to really let people know that. I mean, there has been connections and collaboration throughout this process.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the people a part of those collaborations, like you said, the county's comprehensive plan, the cities, but who else was involved in making this work?
We we sat with more than 100 different business owners and organizations that have interest in part of downtown. And we say that, our district is a 70-block area that goes from the bayfront to the tracks, French to Holland. Within that area, it was the major property owners such as Gannon University, Erie Insurance, and UPMC Health Plan. I'll use those as a 3 example. They each have their own master plans as they were developing their businesses or in their campuses. So our plan had to collaborate with them, not compete, but ultimately how does that then work with the city and the county? So there was primarily the interest of the employers and large property owners. Even the Griffith family, for instance, is another large property owner. But meetings such as that, along with the different authorities, the Port Authority, the Parking Authority, again, those that have the stakeholders in and around downtown. There was also meetings with our neighborhood associations, the Bayfront East Side Task Force, the Gaines Initiative, Little Italy. Those neighborhoods that surround the downtown are crucial to the success in downtown. Their health directly relates to our downtown.
And for everybody who collaborated, you guys found that there's basically already or maybe going to exist 4 major districts of downtown Erie, is that right? Yeah,
well, what we ended up doing is through those meetings, as well as literally we had public meetings. We wanted the public, people need to understand it's your downtown. So we want you to use your downtown. We want you to come downtown. So we had public meetings and we ran online surveys and paper surveys and asked the people, what are you looking for? What do you want from your downtown? So we use that information is basically needs driven and use that to compile our plan, which is what we consider, it's a recommendation plan. We as an organization don't own the properties. The employers do, or the private sector business owners, et cetera. So it's a plan of recommendations how to improve Erie based upon the data and the needs we heard about from the public and the other partners in that.
That's wonderful. So getting into the nitty-gritty, you've got those 4 districts and then you have some goals.
Yeah, so in the plan itself, we said let's, similar to the others, but this plan includes 6 primary goals. The first goal, which is the most crucial goal, is to take that large district and to subdivide it in one sense into 4 sub-districts. So if you start at the Bay, you have the Bayfront District, the Perry Square District, the Renaissance District, and then the Union Square districts. And the concept and philosophy behind that is, as those districts are clustered with unique and like businesses, they start to take on their own personalities. And ultimately, those personalities, they become little neighborhoods within themselves. So you now have an opportunity to have different synergy and energy and similar but different to a personality. It's like a family. You have maybe 4 children or 4, let's use the children aspect. You may have 4 children. They're all unique, but they're all still connected with the family. And this is very similar, that you want each of them to be different, but you still want them to be connected.
Right, and they actually are connected. When I was looking at this, and I had heard about the master plan, it makes sense because you are Erie downtown, but all of these 4 districts flow one right into the next,
Correct.
All the way down to the Bayfront.
Correct, and again, that's natural flow, and people say, well, they over there, but, again, why are we doing it? Because there are those opportunities. If you look at the Renaissance districts, for instance, already clustered in that area, and that's a concept that many urban planners, but even our own community, if you look at like a mall setting, you cluster a group of stores for people to support. Well, this concept of clustering is no different in urban planning, where you cluster the like entities. In that Renaissance district, there's a large clustering of entertainment venues. So what goes with entertainment is the possibility of, additional retail, additional restaurants. So you put those, at people's disposal so that it's convenient for them. It improves their experience. You don't want them being with their time, you really want them together.
Right, and so the Renaissance District, would that be the area right around the Warner Theater?
Correct.
And the ballparks? And,
correct.
Okay.
So if you look at the Bayfront, if you were started at the north and go Bayfront, the districts, you're pretty much in a 4-block area, but you go Bayfront to 4th Street is what we're calling the Bayfront District. And from 4th up to 8th is Perry Square, because that's the primary, I'll say, asset, one of the primary assets within that district. The Renaissance goes from 8th to 12th, And the icon there is the Renaissance building. And then from 12th to 14th, which was already called Union Square, because it was branded, we feel that we need to keep that going. But each of these districts has their own focus. If you look at the Bayfront district, it has a large cluster of our medical facilities and having like a nautical theme. So in the future, we would want to stick to doing the same type of thing. As you go to Perry Square, you have the large employer of Gannett University and Erie Insurance Group. Again, the Perry Square being the center hub, but how do you improve the improvements that are already, how do you make those better in and around Perry Square? In June timeframe, those will be completed, so now how do you make them even better? As you go to the Renaissance district between 8 and 12, you have the cluster of the Playhouse, you have the Warner Theater, you have the Erie Insurance Arena, and other assets. But another element of that is the whole aspect of entrepreneurialism that's going on. In the Renaissance Center, we have Radius Co-work, we have Gannett University's Center for Business Ingenuity with the Small Business Development Center. So you have this other synergy. And then ultimately, when you go into the Union Square, you have that focus of housing. Market rate, there's some ownership, but there's a lot of potential for market rate housing rentals. So those are the primary focuses of those districts. Now there's others to complement it, but ideally those are the primary focuses.
Those are the four. And you know what I like so much about Erie too, and with these 4 districts being developed, I mean, it does go from the Bayfront all the way to 14th Street, and you know, just from myself walking in parades or you know, going to the car shows downtown, I mean, that's all 4 of those districts, all 14 blocks are completely walkable.
They are, and in fact, if that's an element of the streetscape master plan, you know, a community wants to make their downtown walkable. Walkable means in terms of it's fun, it's enjoyable, but it's safe. Now, a lot of times there's been some criticism with regards to those bump outs that were added, but those were added as a safety feature. You're making that intersection shorter so that it's much more easier to walk from across and protect the pedestrians in one sense, but also, you know, you're eliminating some right-hand turn lanes. But it's elements like those improvements, addition of street lights and greenery and things of that nature, make it more enjoyable to walk in downtown and thus make them a more walkable communities as an aspect.
Sure. So we just actually touched on goal 1, which was to recognize and promote those 4 districts, and then you just got into goal 2, which was the overall physical environment of downtown Erie, those streetscapes. I think of street trees, a walkable community,
Absolutely.
Clean, safe, customer friendly.
It is. I mean, our organization, outside of, you know, doing the events as we talked about earlier, you know, we have 2 gentlemen that are out there in the streets each day cleaning, and yes, it's a large area, and they're out there daily with many cigarette butts, and that's where you and I have worked together in the past. Just it's really, you know, the people that throw those cigarette butts down, that's just, it's embarrassing and it's rude. But ultimately, we have these containers. We ask them to put those in the containers. So one of the messages we say to people, if you're coming downtown, respect your downtown, use those. But we do know we need to do more to make it safer and cleaner. And we have some initiatives that we've done as an organization with some external security cameras, facade programs, and we can talk more about that later, but ideally that is a key element to continue to that development of that streetscape and make them safer and cleaner.
And to reduce the vacant lots.
Correct.
I see on here too.
Correct. Yeah, I mean any downtown, you know, vacancy is not a good thing. And in our case, we have a lot of second floor vacancies that, you know, are we able to develop programs that would encourage people to perhaps live there? Or maybe a business relocate from the first floor to the second floor so that you would free that up for retail. You know, something that you could walk in and walk out of easily.
Sure, so, I think that's a wonderful idea. Coffee shops, things like
exactly.
that.
I mean, and great, you know, we have some really good ideas, and the community reaches out to us and shares those ideas, and we encourage that. You know, but ultimately, you know, planning is one thing, execution or the implementation, that's always the challenge. So with these goals that we've outlined, we believe that there's a lot of good opportunity for us to implement.
Sure, sure. And so just going along through the goals here, you did, I think we just touched on goal 3 with that also, but goal 4 is increasing the market rate housing in downtown Erie.
Correct. I mean, we've had, in the Union Square District is the concentration of housing. And there has been success with the Mercantile Building and the Union Square townhomes. That original model called for purchasing or ownership. But that has changed. There's a lot of young professionals or just a lot of young people in our community that don't want to own. We even have some seniors, if you will, that are maybe near retirement or at the point where their children have moved out. You know, maybe they don't want to have the house and the yard, but they still want to have a beautiful place to live. So ideally, this area, the Union Square District, is target what we call market rate rentals. Very nice rentals that are, if you've been in those, are just wonderfully, you know, fantastic. But we have the developers. Rick Griffith has been, you know, working to develop more of that, and part of our plan calls to work with Rick and or potential maybe another developer that would look at that as the opportunity, because that's the area it's targeted that would work best.
Right, and it's convenient.
Very convenient. Well, because that's one of the next challenges we do is if that's the target, we say then what amenities do you need to coincide with the livable aspect.
And what amenities do you think those are? Grocery stores?
Grocery store is an absolute must. I mean, even in that Union Square district, you know, parking from the business's standpoint is definitely needed. You know, it can be improved upon. So through the process, and that's part of the planning process that we talked about many times, not here, but as we went through it, we learned of a lot of opportunities. And EMTA is building phase 2 and phase 3 of their large project. And at such time, when we were meeting with them, we learned of them building a brand new parking ramp for their needs and their new offices. We approached them and said, could we have that first floor? And they, first floor, well, we want to put a grocery store or a market in there. So we've been working for the past year and a half, almost 2 years, we studied other communities, we've traveled, we just recently completed a project with Gaynor University where the students actually did a business plan for the development in can it sustain itself as a functioning market where you have your breads, your cheeses, your meats, your fresh fruits and vegetables. We know in our community there are food deserts, and it's just, we want to change that. We've had some closings of grocers, and an aspect of a food desert is defined by, you know, access to fresh, healthy food. But another key element of that is lack of reliable transportation. So you have the authority, the transportation authority, their willingness to literally redo the routes to get to the neighborhoods to bring the people in. But we truly want to make it a destination.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I think that market is something that really intrigues me. I know when I go out of town, I love visiting the farmers markets. It has this industrial feel, but also very earthy, and
yes.
You are drawn to it.
You are drawn to it, and that's the goal, because we want to do the same. We want to make it a regional destination. You know, I too, like many of our viewers here, have literally traveled perhaps to Cleveland or to Pittsburgh. I mean, cauliflower is cauliflower, but it's different. I mean, it's that environment that you want to participate in. And you know, the model that we looked at, again, in meeting with those that own that, we have some really good research, some good basis for it, but it's going to be up to the community to support it. So if we have one chance to do it, we want to do it right. We want to provide with what they've defined. I mean, when we did a survey, more than 1,000 people replied and said, this is what we're looking for in a market, and we would support it. Here's the hours we would shop, here's the items we're looking for, and it was wonderful information. We thank them very much.
Yeah, can you share some of what responses? Were you surprised by anything?
We were, you know, because the models we looked at were all of a market, not a grocer, but a market. Instead of a 7-day-a-week operation, we know most of those are 3, maybe 4 days. And a lot of them, we were surprised that most people in this community shop on a Saturday and a Sunday.
You were surprised?
Yeah, we knew some, and we knew a lot of it did take place. And we figured Saturday was definitely a target day, but the majority of people were Sundays. And for whatever reason, but we learned from that data. So if this market's going to succeed, we need to be listening to the data and say, look, if you're going to shop on a Sunday, come on down. Now, keep in mind, our goal, you know, it's to complement the existing, in this particular case, with the market in the downtown. We know that as that housing develops, you're going to need the access to fresh, healthy foods. We have a lot of great support neighborhoods with some corner stores. We believe another component of this is a commercial aspect. Is there a way that this food hub, as we're calling it, can be a commercial supplier to them so that they too can offer, again, to our neighborhoods? And again, healthy, strong neighborhoods really make for a good downtown. And
that's true. I live in Millcreek, but I mean, the State Street and stretch of downtown that we're talking about is honestly so close. I mean, we've got Millcreek there, we've got the city there, we've got Harbor Creek, Wesleyville, Lawrence Park. Everybody is so close. So even if you can't walk to that area, I mean, for me, just making it downtown is honestly a 5-minute drive. It's so fast, it's
Right.
so quick. I just, you need to be able to, get down there, find parking, or like you said, get a bus system or a bicycle system that works to get down.
Well, the unique thing here is that when we studied the other markets, and it gets right into what are the needs for downtown, especially of a market, the first need they say that we conquered is parking. This structure, the very first deck of it is public parking, which is going to be 100 spaces. Decks 2 and 3 are going to be used by EMTA and their employees, but when they're not using it, they're available. So you have immediately 300 spaces. You also have 200 to 300 spaces that are immediately available for housing that's there, as well as businesses that are there. You have great juniors, Last Laugh Comedy Club's there, Calamari's and other restaurants. They're right there that are block and a half, 2 blocks, that looking to how does this ramp also serve them. But another aspect about this is the transit-oriented development. We've been working with them to, they're going to have compressed natural gas fueling, but can they have electrical vehicle charging stations?
Oh.
Can we have a bicycle share program and that be at one of the spokes, one of the hubs? So if you have a share system there, where else in the downtown or the dock and other points in Millcreek to make the share? So part of our plan literally outlines where these stations would be. There's also bicycle repair and bicycle storage lockers we're looking at. So a lot of aspects of and amenities that we gained knowledge about what are the needs of the future are in the plan, but they're ultimately identified in these different districts.
Sure. And I have to ask, how large is this plan and where can our viewers find it?
Yeah, we want viewers to find it. We want them to read it. On our website at eriedowntown.com, there's a link there, but what we really are asking the community to do is to be part of this. If you care about your community, if you care about revitalizing Erie, then you're going to want to go to icareforerie.com.
And I see you wearing the sticker, I care.
We have a sticker for now.
I'll wear one too.
Well, we have some. But icareforerie.com is where you can go. It's a brand new website. And if you just scroll down, there are 2 links. There's an executive summary, and we brought a copy here, that you can view this. And if you click on it, it'll let you page over and view. Or you can download and print a copy for yourself. And that's 20 pages. Or you can go to the full master plan, which is 150 pages. A lot of great information. Once again, you can click the view button and view it, or you can choose to download and print and take the file, do it at your home or take it to a local printer and they'll do it for you. But ideally, it's there for you to review. One thing about it too, is on that website is there's our role as an organization. As I mentioned, we don't own the properties. Business owners, property owners, and the community does. We want you using more. So your role is on that site. If you click on the Your Role tab, it'll say, we want you to be engaged. So if you're part of these districts, sign up. If you're, even if you're not, if you still want to help in your downtown, if you want to make it better, sign up. We're going to start holding district meetings, block captains or champions, so that, again, these districts form into what's transformational to them in the neighborhoods they really want. So we encourage people, eriedowntown.com, go to the I Care, if you care about revitalizing Erie, care, or go to icareforerie.com. You can get a copy of those.
So our residents should go on, check the master plan, and then attend some of the meetings that you're going to be holding.
Check in. I mean, I know there's, the district specific, but you can just check either. But, we want to be engaged with you. We want to continue the dialogue because it's your downtown. You can help us shape the future of the downtown, but we need you to be involved.
And I think the last goal and one of the most exciting goals is, one is just, spending your money downtown, but also attending those events that you guys hold. So you do have, the Thursday night block parties.
Correct.
When do those start and end for the summer?
Well, our organization, we do 13 total events throughout the year between May and early September. So it'd be the Friday of Memorial Day, we start with a bike night. June, July, and August, we do 10 block parties. And then we finish off our summer event series with the Friday of Labor Day weekend, another bike night. So it goes bike night, 10 block parties, bike night. And then early December, we do Downtown Delights, which is where we light up downtown for the Christmas holiday season. And what's unique is, the Perry Square will be completed. So we're already working with our contractor and some potential new partners like the Perry Square Alliance to how do we take and transform those decorations into the communities. They're always emailing us, we need more.
More spirit.
And wouldn't it be great to have, spirit and decorations, wouldn't it be great to have a real tree down there or a large tree?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of engagement we want to hear from people, and not just their ideas, but maybe they want to be involved as a nonprofit group, you can come in, you know, say, but I want to go for the Christmas tree, or I want to be for this. So, yeah, but we do our events, but when you look at the community as a whole, there are many, many events to do, most of which are free, open to the public. So that goal was saying, if we're pursuing and investing time, and the Port Authority's investing time in the city of Erie, is there a way that maybe we can make that more efficient? I mean, it's transparent to the consumer, you know, those who support it, but to the organizers. You know, the sponsorships only go so far, the amount of time it takes to do, you know, put on an event. Is there a better way of doing it? Because we've always done it doesn't mean there isn't a better way.
Right, right. That is so true. And can you just share, I know our time is just about wrapped up here, if you could share your email address and phone number with our viewers.
Yeah, you can contact us directly through our website at eriedowntown.com, and you know, you just go literally under the contact, and that email will come to me, and or my email address is john.buchna@eriedowntown.com.
Okay.
john.buchna@eriedowntown.com.
Perfect. And your phone number?
455 Erie.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
You're
John.
welcome.
I so
Thank you
greatly
so much,
appreciate it.
Jessica.
This plan sounds wonderful. Folks, not only should you spend your money downtown shopping at the local retail shops and restaurants, but make sure you get online and check out this master plan and get involved. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.